You may wonder, what exactly do I mean when I say imaginary bow? So, let me explain the rules of this run real quick. We are only allowed to use our fists and the lightning arrow miracle, and we attempt to kill every boss in the main game. Enjoy. But now, let's jump into the run. We start out as a herald for the talisman. And bruh, we immediately run into the first issue of the run. I can't wield the bow until we have at least 35 faith. And I can't level up until after Gandir. So, how do we solve this problem? Well, there are basically two solutions. We either 1. Cheat in the levels, or 2. Go and fist Gandir. I don't even have to ask to know what you want to see, so I went to punch Gandir to death with my imaginary bow. I was a little rusty with Dark Souls 3, but after getting a few attempts in and getting good at parries again, he goes down after about an hour of attempts.
Okay, I got greedy. Nice! Finally! Whew, I deserved to die there. I got greedy and he luckily just missed me.
Afterwards, the Crystal Lizard and the Swordmaster share the same fate. I do the tree jump to collect the Estus shard and the Silver Serpent ring, and because I still like a lot of levels afterwards, I farmed at the dragon for a few hours until we finally got enough faith. 5 hours in, we challenge Ward. And there's really not much to say here. This boss is usually already a total pushover. I just keep shooting and got in a few dodges when needed. He goes down without much trouble. By the way, I'm streaming most of those runs live on Twitch, and I would be really happy if you tune in sometime, and maybe even leave a follow. Okay, that's it.
Ward down. That was a little rusty, but I take it.
We enjoyed the view and immediately got kidnapped. In the hideout of the kidnappers, I meet a new friend, Yoel. He apparently shares the same fate, and I was willing to help. On my way through the undead settlement, I got the Estus shard alongside the bone shard and went to fight the big tree. It was kinda troublesome in the beginning, because I was terrible at free aiming. So I ran out of FP a few times, but got better over time. The ads from phase 1 are just really annoying, due to the fact that I don't have enough FP to kill them and the Great Wood. Strategy that I had developed was to first instantly phase transition the Great Wood to avoid the undead and then just snipe the weak points. Still, lacking FP, I had to be very precise. But after my fair share of deaths, I finally beat him.
Nice! Finally. That took way too fucking long.
We release Irina and collect Morn's ring together with the Sage ring for some better damage and faster casting speed. The Crystal Sage is up next. It was a pretty easy boss fight, which apparently doesn't really go back into the ground to reposition in phase 1 if you keep your distance. Phase 2 was a little harder though. But for whatever reason, in most of my tries, I miraculously kept hitting the real Sage with my first arrow over and over most of the times. A few shots later and he goes down. So from here on we can go into one of 3 directions: Deacons, Abyss Watchers, or Dancer. So I figured I'd go to visit the Abyss Watchers first. The fight was pretty straightforward. Dodge an attack, and shoot an arrow. What could go wrong? Ouch! Bad Joey! Stop it! I said, stop it! Well, after this quick interference and a little help from Joey, we transfer to phase 2. Here, it's pretty much the same, but with more fire. Much more fire. Now that I think about it, this is a concept we're gonna encounter later again. But, well.
I'm so lucky I have the fucking Sage string.
It took me a few tries, but all in all, this fight was quite anticlimactic. I just thought it's gonna be more exciting. We head for the cathedral next, picking up the Estus upgrade materials and Lloyd's soldering for extra damage. The fight with deacons went... yeah. Turns out the easiest boss in the whole game turns into a nightmare if you use a single target attack. I am also so mad that I didn't kill him there. Like, what is this? I had so many attempts where I barely just didn't kill him, and when I shot, I just missed or they just healed. It was terrible.
No way! Oh,
So, I decided to come back later. I played a little bit of bowling and take out the funny skeleton Gandalf for the next bone shard. Talking about funny skeletons, here's a big one. Volnir. He was an interesting experience. At first, I had quite a hard time destroying the golden bracelets. I figured it was because sometimes his hand blocked the arrow from hitting the bracelets. A little deja vu later, and this is another boss fight with ads that we can't take out due to lack of FP. Why does this game have so many? I got shown that Volnir is actually able to summon all kinds of skeletons. There are the normal ones, the anime protagonist ones, and even the stupid bone wheels. It took me a while, but I break one bracelet after the other one, and with no more drip, our boy slides down into the abyss. I play a little bit with the big dog, rat, or whatever this thing is supposed to be, before getting reminded, oh yeah, deacons are still a thing. Oh no, bad dog, no, set me down, oh, no, not like this, no! Oh, this bridge doesn't really look stable. It would be a shame if someone accidentally destroys it, resulting in death because it didn't wait for the climbing prompt to appear. Yeah, who could do such a foolish thing? I watch a few skeletons mowing down a little demon before visiting his daddy. But first, I have a little tea session with my worm friend. He even brought me a gift. There's really not much to say here. For the old Demon King, I pretty much just kept my distance and kept firing here and there, dodging the ranged attacks if needed. And I also may or may not have died to the 10% explosion. Twice. Before realizing that it exists. And keeping a little more distance this time. I'm still scared from the last Deacon fight, so I tried to avoid them as long as possible. And take on Dancer next. Due to Dancer's rather passive nature, in phase 1, I have no trouble to take out half of her health bar. Phase 2 though is a completely different story. I keep my safe distance and play Ring Around the Rosie to avoid the blender. This time I'm extra careful, because some of her attacks can actually one-hit me. But this wasn't actually that much of a challenge, because the boss kept bonking into a pillar. I can't believe I would ever say that, but did you know that only 0.7% of my viewers are subscribed? So if you enjoy what you're seeing, please leave a like. Or maybe even consider subscribing. It would really help me out a lot. Also, I know this graph doesn't add up, but don't blame me. Blame YouTube.
Imagine I died there. Imagine I died there. Whew.
In Lothric, we can conveniently farm some upgrade materials from the knights for +6. Making our way towards the Cyrus. And I died a few times too often on my way to the boss fight, before finally opening the shortcut and getting our next Estus flask. Oh yeah, also this happened, and I really don't want to talk about it.
How? What? Oh, come on! What is this?
Here, we got to do some cleanup, so we get a little bit of a boss rush starting. Beginning with Osiris. This fight was nothing too special. Let me introduce you to one of our best friends of this run, the Lawwalk. You see, if we keep a certain distance, a lot of bosses just walk towards us without doing much, like the dragon phase 1. Phase 2 is basically just a lot of dodging dashes and getting a hit in here and there. It ended closer than I would have liked, but it was okay in the end. I got the dragon gesture for later, before heading to champion Gandia. This fight was pretty simple, due to me getting a lot of practice in while fisting regular Gandia. I pay the shit out of him and get in an error or two while he's knocked, rinse and repeat until he's out of HP. At the second Fire Link Shrine, I pick up the Firekeeper Eyes to finally get the last achievement I'm missing for Dark Souls 3. I'm sure I'm not gonna forget about that. Right? Right? I tried to avoid them as long as possible, but after leveling up a little and learning about the fight, I went to take on Deacons. The fight was still a pain, but now I at least have a lot more FP. Phase 1, we take out the Shining Deacons while kiting the others away from the main Deacons spawn, chipping down on them until we phase transition. The true trouble began in phase 2. After learning that the blue deacons don't respawn, I took them out first, so they can't block my shots, and more importantly, don't heal the Pope. Because that cost me quite a few earlier runs. I start chipping down on the Pope and kill one of the casters every time they start to build up curse, which also kept killing a good amount of my runs. With me finally figuring out how the mechanics of this side actually work, I think This is a very cool concept. Almost sad that this fight is a joke normally, considering how much thought was put into this. I'm not gonna complain though. I was so happy after finally beating him. With the doll in our hand, we finally get access to Irophil, where I pick up the undead bone shard and I head to encounter our all-favorite From Software mob, teleporting dogs. Not only are these hella annoying, but there are also like 10 of them on the way to Sullivan. Talking of the Pontiff, we had to fight him. I had a tough time for a while, because he's insanely good at closing gaps fast. Even though I figured out my windows pretty fast. I was kinda scared of the Shadow Clone Jutsu, which turned out to be not much of a trouble at all. We just had to hit it twice to destroy it, even giving us a huge attack window whenever Sullivan planned to summon. He luckily goes down too eventually. Anor Londo was not even worth to talk about. So Eldritch is next on the list. We basically only dodge some magic attacks and take shelter of the arrow rain in this alcove. Not much more to say about this. Now, I start my quest to harbinger the sinners of a big boy. A really big boy. Yorm the Giant. There's not too much to say about this either. Headshots knock him down and letting us do insane damage. Phase 2 is the same, but with much more fire, like mentioned earlier. He goes down pretty easily first try, no storm rule needed. Before tackling Lothric Castle, I went to hang out with my dragon friend. We get the last important ring of the game, the lightning clutch ring, and meet the ancient wyvern. Before you say anything, yes, I one-hit him. More or less. Because we said that fist is fine, ringing the bell real quick. So, Nameless King's next, and I'm pretty sure he's hella lightning resistant. So let's see. What? 473 damage. Okay, that's kinda insane. This might be a pushover. But here comes phase 2. And let's see now. And that's not great. That's actually pretty terrible. So let's do some calculations. The Nameless King has 7100 HP in phase 2. We do 47 damage per cast. We can currently cast 9 arrows per FP bar. If we use 15 Ashen Esters, a Hidden Blessing, and our original FP bar, that totals 153 casts, or about 7191 damage. Barely enough to beat him. Well, if there wouldn't be phase 1, which requires about 10 arrows to kill. So we basically can't kill him right now. And even if it would be possible, theoretically, I really don't want to do a grind of levels and then waste my life away spending hours on trying this fight. Is it possible? Yes. Am I gonna do it? Hell no. But in case anyone is insane enough to do it, go for it. And if you manage to beat him, please send me a video. I would love to see it. Can you imagine ever dying in a boss run? Oh. Well, let's just not talk about it. So, this leaves only 3 bosses to finish the game. And we start off with the only one we can fight right now. Dragon Slayer Armor. Which is also hella lightning resistant. But not nearly as bad as the Nameless King. We do about 80 damage, which is fine. And while keeping our distance, a little bit abusing the law walk at certain points and just dodging and getting an arrow in here and there, we slowly chip him down. And this fight was generally not that hard. It was also just kind of a grind for endurance and trying to just dodge, minimize your mistakes, and stay alive as long as possible. In phase 1, this was not too much of a struggle, but the dragons which were added in the mix in phase 2 sometimes caught me off guard, leading to one or another really annoying death where I just got stunlocked by a dragon and then immediately followed up the finishing blow from the Dragon Slayer armor. It took a while, but I shoot and shoot and shoot and shoot until it just finally goes down. And well, this was so fucking close. it wasn't really a win, it was more a draw. But I still take it, because it allows me to proceed through Lothric Castle. Okay, the last Lord of Cinder is next. And he's the only thing standing in between me and the Soul of Cinder. The Twin Princes, which were actually kinda challenging. Luckily, our good friend the Lorewalk helps a lot in this battle. And phase 1 is over pretty fast. So the second phase isn't really difficult too. But what makes this fight so hard then? Well, it's just a battle of endurance. Because it's almost impossible for us to hit Lothric while Lorien is alive. So we have to kill him over and over and over again, until finally Lothric goes down too. In case you wonder why I cut down some fights and speed up others, it's usually have to do with the duration of the fight. If a fight isn't that long, I just cut it down, but if there's one like this one which takes over 10 minutes, then I tend to just speed it up for the sake of my sanity, to have to do a little less editing work and also to better show the fight. Because I don't think it is probably not that nice to watch with like 10 million cuts in it. So yeah, but whatever. That's just my reason. And this was a very convenient thing to say here, because I needed something to fill up this fight with. Anyway, let's continue with the run. Editor me, out. Now, the great final, Soul of Cinder. He isn't the most difficult boss, but I think the concept is really cool. How he just goes from his base form to either magic, pyromancy or miracle form. All with a lot of different amazing abilities. Yeah, as cool as this might be, this doesn't change the outcome. The first health bar is pretty fast down. And now, there's just the second one left. This run was interesting. Using a bow that is a miracle at the same time was quite a challenge. Generally, though, a lot of the fights felt the same and boring, doing them this way. But well, this was kind of fun. But I just wanted to get done with it in the end. Well, thanks for all the amazing support on these videos. And next up is gonna be a new Elden Ring run, so stay tuned for that. So, this was it. DS3, with only an imaginary bow. Hope you enjoyed. And see you... Wait, I feel like I forgot something. But it can't be that important. See you next time. Fuck! I forgot the secret ending!